Here we go. So you're here today because your organization uses Microsoft, and you have Microsoft. Well, let me start by just introducing myself. I'm John Vogel, the technical product manager for identity and access management on the Blackbaud Sky platform. And so under my purview is Blackbaud ID, access permissions, roles, user management, essentially who you are and what you can do within the Blackbaud solution, as long as those permissions are controlled within the Sky platform. So we do have solutions that still run their own set of permissions and user management that's not under my world today. So I had started off a little early there, but you're here because you're running Office 360 or Microsoft, and you have other business applications. Blackbaud is one of those other business applications. And if you don't have an SSO connection with us today, your landscape looks something like this, where you're using a Microsoft account to sign in, and then you're logging in to Blackbaud with Blackbaud ID that's independent from your Microsoft account, and then however many other accounts you have for different business applications. And the goal that we want to get to is to just have your Microsoft account used across, and that was a faux pas on my part there. There's another session coming up on Google later, but you want to use your Microsoft account to get into all your Microsoft Office applications, Blackbaud, and any other cloud applications that you're working with as well. So to complete this job, you're going to need to have access to three roles. You need to be a Blackbaud org admin today. You also need access to your Azure portal, and you need access to the DNS for the domain that you'll be claiming as part of this SSO connection. And so let's make it happen. This deck is available. Currently it's last year's presentation, but it's directly available from when you're in your admin console and you go to the authentication. We're going to be setting up Microsoft Azure today, but we have this help flyout, and there are links. There's a whole walkthrough as we're going through this. So this presentation here today shows it all in visual format, and there's also written instructions with links to this deck also. And if you want, if you have access, if you are currently have access to all three of these roles, I would throw that challenge out there. Like, go ahead and follow along and do this while we're going through it, and see how easy it is. You can leave the connection in test mode so that you can go all the way without actually impacting your organization until you're ready to, you send communications out and let everybody know that you're gonna convert them over. All right, so we're going to go ahead and kick this off. I'm gonna just be walking through here within the admin console so that you all can actually see how this is done. So I'm actually going to disconnect this because I apologize because I hadn't disconnected it before, and I'm going to erase all the settings so that we are just starting from scratch. So when you come to the authentication page, you'll see this Manage Settings button, and we're going to be setting up an Azure AD connection. So we go ahead and we start configuring your connection. And as I mentioned before, the instructions here, so you see this is Azure AD Setup, and we walk you through step by step here. And admin, select authentication, right? Like, in case you were reading this in a web browser outside of this context, we give you the context to just come right in here. But the first thing to do is there's a link here to open up your Azure portal. So we're going to log in to this. It'll take just a second here. I hope that I'm not too laggy because my computer does seem to be going, the connection seems to be running kind of slow this morning. Azure Active Directory is where we're going to go. And if we go back over to our other tab here, enter your Azure Primary AD domain, right? So if we go right here, primary domain, we're right here on the overview of the Azure AD portal. This is your primary domain. So we just take that and paste it right in here. And then in the Azure portal, create an app registration with the redirect URI. So we'll copy this. We're going to come back over here, and there is app registrations right here. We're going to create a new registration, and we'll just call this BB Dev Days 2023 on, we're doing this on 6/7. So then for the supported account types, you just want accounts in your organizational directory. Depending on your organizational structure, you may have a multi-tenant setup. So if you're not sure directly, somebody within your organization will be able to, should know how you're structured. Multi-tenant is more common if you have parts of your organization that really operate as separate businesses sometimes, where that's, you know, maybe you have a philanthropic arm and then an actual business arm. So for example, in a hospital. So for us, we're just going to do this single directory. For the platform, we're just doing a web, and for this is the redirect URI that we are asked to put in over here, which I've already copied over. So we're going to put that in here and click register. So we create this up. We've got our new app registered now. And so we come back over here and it says enter your application's ID. Okay. Application ID right here. Copy that. Check. In there. And the Azure portal, edit the API permissions for your application to turn on user read permission. So we come over here. We look at API permissions. And user read is already in place there, but I'll just go ahead and delete this just so that you can see if it wasn't in place. So you look to add a permission. This is in Microsoft Graph. And it's delegated permissions. And then we will look for user.read. It'll be under user.read, add permissions, and then grant admin consent is a key part to this, and we'll show you here. If you're reading the instructions as you're going through this, so we've configured the Azure AD application, or excuse me, we're in the process of configuring that. We've copied the redirect over, copied the application ID, and then we're setting the permissions up, and you can see here that under configured permissions, select grant admin consent. And as just to show you all the steps that we've gone through on this deck here as well, I've got each, slide by slide, exactly what you need to go click on in each of these steps to just make it as easy as possible here, okay? So we've already done the application, we've done the Microsoft delegated permissions, the user read, and then we're on this step to grant the admin consent. So we go through grant admin consent, yes we do. And really what that's doing is just making it so that the admin doesn't have to approve every single user. Oh, Jesse, I was just, oh, Luan, sorry, okay. Good. Glad that I'm coming through with audio there. All right, so we have our user read permission in place now. So we've gone through here, then, and the Azure portal, create a secret key to secure your application's credentials when requesting tokens. And then we require this is basically us establishing the handshake. So you're creating a secret within Azure and then have to tell us what that is. So we come over here to certificates and secrets. We're going to create a new client secret here. And again, you can call it whatever you want, that makes sense for you. Dev days 2023, 6/7. And they provide some options for like how long you want to let it last for. And then you click add. You've got the secret. Now, there is one thing to note here. The value is what we're looking for here to paste over. The secret ID is just the actual, you can create multiple client secrets, and this is just the ID to identify which secret it is, but the value is the piece that we need for the handshake between Blackbaud and Azure, okay? So you come over here, paste that secret in, and then something that we've done to be proactive and help try to prevent you from having an expiration occur is that we go ahead and ask, hey, when's this secret going to expire? Because we know that when the secret does expire, and if you haven't renewed the secret, it will lock everybody out of your SSO, and then nobody's going to be able to sign in. It's a really bad situation that you definitely want to avoid. There are, within Azure AD, there can be notification, you can be monitoring this as well. But on the Blackbaud side, we're trying to help be more proactive with this, because this way, then we can start sending emails out to your org admins to say, hey, heads up, your connection with Blackbaud is about to expire. And we send that 30 days out. And then at 7 days out, we start emailing every day to say, hey, it's going to expire. It's going to expire. If anybody on the call has ever been in that situation before, you can attest to it being an uncomfortable situation, let's say, when you're blocking everybody from doing their work. Okay, so next up, we're going to claim your email domains. And this is where, and I'm going to just go ahead and trash this just so that we can, I can show you all. So we're going to claim a domain. And so on this connection, I'm claiming blackbaudid.com. And we do start domain verification. And so really what this is doing is allowing us to confirm that you have ownership of this domain. And this is done for your protection just as much as it is ours. We want to make sure that you have ownership before you start redirecting people on the domain over to your IDP, because on our sign-in page, as soon as somebody enters an email address and goes to the next field, we look at the domain of that email address to understand if it's a claimed domain related with an SSO connection, and if it is, we'll send people over. We'll send them over to the relevant IDP, and want to make sure that that is somebody that actually owns that IDP. And if we weren't verifying ownership of the domains, then people could be redirecting, just claiming domains. Not that we would expect that to happen, but you always have to have insurance and policies when it comes to authentication. So I actually handle the DNS over through Google, and 1 second here, my Google domains here. So you can see here, I'm going to create a new one. So manage custom records, and you leave this blank for the host name. Now your DNS provider may be different. You might be on GoDaddy, or there's a number of different DNS providers out there. And so the buttons that you actually click in this part of it are different, but regardless of what application that you're using, they will all have this same like host name, what type you're setting up, time to live, and the data that you're putting as part of it. And in this case, I'm putting this text string in here, and we're going to save that. Okay. And then if I come back over to where we were claiming the domain on the Blackbaud side, if I click verify this domain, it goes out. We look at the DNS and say, oh yeah, look, we can see that text string on there. You clearly have ownership of this domain. And so we've done that part. And so now we have set up the SSO connection, and it's time to actually test to make sure that we're able to log in. So we come over here, we copy this URL, and then I'm going to open a incognito window and paste it in here. And then you have to obviously test with somebody that's on that claimed domain. Interesting. So, live demo, and it is, I must have missed a step as I was going through there. Let's switch over to the presentation here. So we granted the admin consent. We went through and created our client secret. We entered the value over and the expiration. We claimed our domain, right? So the example, we verified it. And then you're going to copy that URL over to enter in. So this should be working. Okay, well, let's try this one more time. And then if it doesn't work, I will we'll go look at the users list and the Azure portal to make sure, unless I just mistyped the domain. There we go. Maybe I must have typed something. Maybe I typed that email wrong. Yeah. So make sure you don't fat finger your email address. So you can see I'm signing in with Blackbaud ID, or at the domain blackbaudid.com, and I'm signed in. So then I can sign out of here, and when I come back over to this test connection, if I refresh this page, it'll say, look, one Blackbaud ID currently in test mode, so that it registers all the people that you sign in with. So if you want to build confidence and have a few of your coworkers sign in with the claim domain also and make sure that they don't have any problems with it, you can do that. And then the last thing to do is actually turn this connection on. And in here, you click this link and you can see all the people that are on this Blackbaud ID domain that are going to be, that'll start signing in with SSO the minute that you turn it on. So if they currently have a email password combination, just a username and password combination, they're going to start, when they go to sign in the next time, they'll be redirected over to your Microsoft IDP and start signing in with their Azure credentials from that point forward. And you can automatically send everybody an email to let them know of the change as well, so that they know when it's live. And that's it. So even with me fumbling around and all of the extra talk that I had around explaining this, still set the whole connection up in under 30 minutes. And we've got 5 minutes left. Happy to take questions. The rest of this deck really just showed, what the email looks like, what people see after signing in. And you saw me turn on the SSO, which is just some of these last slides here. There's a confirmation email that's sent out once, if you do have it sent to people, and then the page. I also have slides on disconnecting the SSO there as well. You actually saw me do that at the beginning of this presentation, which is super quick and easy. Once you have an SSO connection established, though, there's not really reason to have to disconnect it. Yeah. Questions, comments, thoughts? I hope that this shows how easy it is to really set it up. And there's absolutely makes your world easier when you don't have to manage multiple accounts to go throughout your day. And one last thing, just to leave you all, I'm going to share on the, I'm going to share my screen again. And as we were going through the authentication setup, so I'll just go ahead and disconnect this again. And when you're on this screen and I showed you all the, there's all of these steps, you can see here, tip for visual reference, there's a link that goes right out to the presentation itself. And the presentation that's currently linked in there is one from last year, but it's the same content, just a different template. And you can also open this whole window in a browser window, so that you can have a full screen if it's too much just in the side panel there that pops out. Okay, that really is it this time. Please, if you have any questions after the fact, please feel free to reach out to me. I'm always happy to help. And I really hope that this has inspired some of you all to work to establish an SSO connection using Azure AD and simplify your lives. And the people that, if you are the person at your organization that is responsible for it, I'm sure that I'm preaching to the choir. If you're not the person at the organization that's responsible for SSO connections, they will certainly appreciate the added security and user management that they are provided with the ability that knowing that it's all through an SSO connection, because as people come on to your organization or leave the organization, It's centrally managed within Azure AD, and it doesn't have to be, somebody doesn't have to go into Blackbaud and then turn off the credentials there after somebody leaves to ensure that they're no longer able to access the Blackbaud solutions, especially given the nature of the content within our solutions and how sensitive that is. All right.